Okay, so I've had my Etsy shop for a few years now, and here are the things that I would be doing differently if I were to start again today. If you're new here, my name is Indy. I'm known as Do's by Indy on Instagram and TikTok. So today we're going to be talking about how to have a successful Etsy shop and 5 things that I would be doing differently if I were to restart today. Okay, so first things first, you gotta know what platform you want to start on. There are so many platforms out there today from Etsy, Shopify, Big Cartel, WooCommerce. There's a lot more out there, but there are also differences in the channels that you want to sell on. But I think the biggest two would be Etsy and Shopify. Starting off with Etsy, Etsy already has kind of like a marketplace already, so to speak. It's kind of like Amazon where there's already like an audience that loves Amazon. Same thing with Etsy. There's already kind of like an audience that loves Etsy. So there's hundreds, thousands, millions of people going to Etsy's website looking for products. And because of that, on Etsy, you're really able to focus on just creating and selling because Etsy is going to take care of all the marketing and everything else in between. Your main focus is to just sell. Whereas on Shopify or other platforms like that, you have to really market yourself. I feel like when you open a Shopify account, you have to bring in the audience to your website. So not only do you have to focus on creating the product and all the other tasks that comes along with that, but you also have to focus on marketing on social media, Google Ads, and any way to get an audience to go to your website and purchase something. And then on Etsy, there are a lot of fees that comes with selling on Etsy. You got your processing fee, your transaction fee. Every time you list an item onto their website, you pay a fee. So that's the only way that Etsy mostly makes their money is when you sell your product. And then they get a portion of the sale. Whereas on Shopify, you get a slight fee, but it's not as big as Etsy. So your payout is a lot higher than on Etsy. I think that's why I see a lot of people having websites and Etsy, but then on their website, the cost of the product is just slightly lower because they get more out of it, and then customers like don't purchase from their Etsy shop because of the high fees that they have to go through, but then also their retail price is a little bit more. So I think another caveat of having Etsy is that you're very limited in the amount of promotions that you're allowed to have. For example, you're only allowed to have like I think $1 or percentage off, and then I think like a certain order minimum you can have, and you can have like a $1% off there. Whereas on Shopify, you can do like buy one, get one, percent off, dollar off. You could like really play around with that. Whereas on Etsy, it's very limited on what you can do. And plus, on Shopify, you can have certain items be discounted off, whereas on Etsy, I don't believe you can do that. And then lastly, on Etsy, you can't really customize the page. It's a very cookie cutter situation on Etsy. I think you can pay a premium to have a different layout, but either way, like it's gonna look exactly the same as other people who paid the premium. It's just a banner, your logo, a description, and then your product listings, and that's it. As on Shopify, you can really customize it and have it your way. You can customize like the whole website. You can have like a product listing page, a home page, about page. But I think like as beginners for Etsy, it's probably more ideal because you don't have to like think about the back end coding or just HTML, like all of these languages that you might have to learn if you really want like a specific look for your website, or you maybe even have to hire someone to help you design the page. Whereas on Etsy, it's very easy. Again, you just have to focus on creating the product and putting it out there. And as someone who is a perfectionist, I feel like it's gonna take me like months, if not a year, to have the perfect website because I'm gonna want like every single page to look exactly how I want it to look. And it's just gonna be a very long time for me to like even launch my store if I started on Shopify. So I think Etsy was definitely the perfect space for me as a beginner because I, again, just wanted to get my products out there. But I feel like I'm finally at a point where I would want my own website just because I want to look a little bit more professional to retailers, since I'm starting to reach out to retailers and want to get myself out there in the wholesale space. So I feel like it's, I don't know, like a little bit more professional, I guess, if you have a website to link to them rather than linking them to like an Etsy page. But for beginners, I think totally Etsy is the way to go. Even if the fees are a little big, it's a great place to start and a great place to find your audience. Okay, second tip is to track your expenses thoroughly. I just started this LLC. It took me a while, but I decided to finally make myself more official and register as an LLC. So I feel like once tax season comes, which is right now, I'm gonna need to show proof that I bought this for my business, and it's just gonna take me so long because most of my stuff is coming from Amazon or Staples, or I have like manual receipts that are just on my phone. It's just like everywhere. So I think a tip that I can give to you is once you buy something, store that receipt somewhere. I'm sure there are apps for it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but right now I'm just working off my Excel spreadsheet. Like I know at least totally how much I spent on my business. So I'm sure you get some like tax back if you like show that like these items are for your business rather than you spending it and then not getting anything back. Okay, next tip that I would have is to run more frequent sales, like have a promotional calendar, because I feel like everyone loves a good sale. Because I don't know about you, but if I'm between two different items and one of them is on sale and the other is not, I'm gonna probably choose the one that's on sale because in this economy, like I can't be spending so much on full price items. And I feel like when you're first starting out too, like obviously it's hard to sell your stuff at a discount because you're trying to make a profit. But at the same time, I think that's gonna help you get the ball rolling and get some sales in. And then from then on, you don't have to have like such a large amount of sales going on at all times. But I think every quarter or so, like you should have at least like one or two promotions going on. So my tip is to figure out like what works for your business. So for me, I'm a sticker keychain pin kind of business. So are there any national holidays, for example, like Stationery Day, Small Business Day, anything that kind of like works with your business? Maybe those are the days that you can have sales. Like also, I sell a boba. So maybe there are national boba days that you can participate in. So just think about like what you can insert yourself in besides the Black Friday holiday sales. Like what else throughout the year you can participate in. Okay, so the next tip is to have a good branding and be consistent with it. Have your logo everywhere and have it the same. If you're gonna have a YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, Etsy, just make them all the same logo. It's so easy as customers to look at a logo and immediately know who they are. For example, Nike. Like everyone knows it's the swoosh sign. So same thing with your logo. If it's all the same everywhere, people are gonna recognize it. And then same thing with color palette. I think like if you have a signature color or colors, maybe 3 to 5 colors, it is something that people recognize. So for example, Olivia Rodrigo, she's known for the color purple. Her first and second album were purple. Her color of choice is usually purple when it comes to her clothing, so people recognize her for that specific color purple. And same thing with your brand. If you're a very colorful person and you have colorful items in your shop and in your feed for your social media, like people are gonna remember you and like resonate with those colors. So when I'm looking at some of like my favorite art accounts, and I'm looking at their feed. They have a very consistent and cohesive feed because they have like a specific color palette that they use. They're using similar colors throughout. Another good example is Victoria's Secret and Pink. Like they have pink bags, their products are pink, like, and their name is pink. So like people recognize that and like they resonate with the color pink for Victoria's Secret and Pink. So try to have some consistency with your branding when it comes to logo, color, maybe even font. I know some people are great with using multiple different fonts for their reels, TikToks, and everything. But for me, I think like I'm gonna try to stick with one font. Okay, so the last advice is to treat your small business as a job, as if you're getting full-time salary on it. Have some time dedicated to your small business. So, for example, if you work a 9 to 5, maybe have dedicated hours after work or before work for your small business, whether it's a couple hours or an hour or however long you think you can sustain working. So, for me, I work on my small business on certain days for certain hours, and this really helped a lot. I would pick up my iPad right after 5 o'clock and then start drawing until the end of the day, which is like 9 or 10. And I didn't have time for anything else, whether it's reading or watching TV or just anything to help me wind down. Like I was working 24/7 basically. But having that dedicated time to work, especially since it's not like every single day that I'm working on my small business, like it helps me, one, avoid burnout, and then two, it actually makes me more productive. And I feel like there are studies on this, especially with a 4-day work week, where people are actually more productive working 4 days rather than a full 5 days. It gives me the attention span and the focus to actually be productive. Like if I have a set amount of hours that I want to work during the week, I will probably use all the hours that I set myself up for. And I feel like if I had every single day to work, I would keep pushing things off. So, for example, if I worked every single day, like, and I had something that I wanted to do on Monday, but then I'm like, I'm tired on a Monday after work, I'm gonna push it to Tuesday. And then that keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed until it's never done. But if I only set myself up for like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like I would actually get the stuff done on Monday because tomorrow I'm like, I have a break. I don't have to work tomorrow. So at least that's what's been working for me. So just having that dedicated time for your small business has been so helpful to me. So those are all my tips for if I were to start my business again and what I would do differently. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.